Hi everyone, this is Taniya Nandi, and this is my very first YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is solely based on the projects that I have done, the frameworks that I have used based on my learning and how I've implemented them in my projects. Okay, so the first project which I'm going to show is a resume portal. All of us at some point or the other, we have gone to a open source resume portals where we go and we create our own resume. We give all the details. We give our summary. We give our designation, the work experience, the educations which we have had, and everything. And the website gives us a good user friendly resume. So I'm trying my hands on that. Here, my project is divided into two parts, the front end and back end part. I'm going to show you in different ways, different parts. So first, I'll show you what my project looks like. Here, I have created my project in VS Code. So first, I'll clear it out. So here, okay, I am building this application using Spring Boot, Thymeleaf, and database, which backs this H2 embedded database I'm using. Post I'm done with the application, I will switch to MySQL, persistent database, and deploy this to AWS. That's my plan. Right now, whatever I have is dummy data, mock data, which I've created in the resume to show my project. Okay, I will go to switch to the project. Now you can see under profile templates, we have three profiles under which an user can choose what template he or she wants and how he wants it to, display a pretty resume. Maybe some tweaks are there here and there for the three different profile templates. Okay. Now, for all these profiles, under which a user can choose, there will be a representation of that in the database. We need to store information like users, job history, experience, education, summary, everything, and we will have an entity for those. What is an entity? As you can see, we are creating, this is under my model section. I have education, job, user details, and user profile. So if I go under user profile, you can see this is a Okay, couple of things we will keep in mind before proceeding. First, we are creating tables in our application, which means we need to create the corresponding entity classes. Second, we need to write the repository so that there's an ability to fetch the information. Okay, I have written the repository here. You can see user profile repository and user repository, etc. Okay, repository it's just a basic interface which we are creating here. You can see it's extending the JPA repository, and Spring Boot and JPA is going to take care of all our implementations here. We don't need to explicitly define whatever we need. For example, find by username, we can just pass in the username, and the repository is going to give fetch the results for us. Okay, now user profile, under user profile, I'm going to show what I have done. Here I have created a jobs class. The job has, this class actually has a list of jobs. When a person comes in and creates his or her own resume, he's going to list all the jobs, and I'm going to give a one-to-many mapping here. So one-to-many mapping is a bidirectional relationship here, basically. There's nothing much, bidirectional relationship. Okay, so the foreign key of this job table is the primary key to the user table, if you understand, and I'm joining column by ID. Okay. Here I'm also creating, okay, orphan removal I'm doing true because, if anything happens to the user table, I want the corresponding data in the job table also to be taken care of. Okay, education I have jobs because a user can enter multiple education profiles, multiple job profiles, and then skills also I have because again, list of skills a user can set skills. I'm sorry, I'm doing setter and getter here. Pretty simple table. I'll show you the job table also. Here also I'm trying to set the start date and end date of the job, the particular job that user is going to enter. Okay, the responsibilities, the company, ID for the foreign key, the designation, and everything. Okay, now I will shift to my home controller to show what I'm doing here. As you can see, this is my controller class. See, this has the name of my home controller. I have annotated with it with controller, not REST controller, because I'm going to use Thymeleaf. I'm going to display the pages as well, the HTML pages as well. So you can see I have used once, twice auto-wired, and once I'm using this constructor-based DI also. What is this? In the context of the Spring Boot application which I'm creating, this auto wire can be used to implement dependency injection. Okay, so we can eliminate the need to explicitly define, explicitly specify the relationship between these beans, like these beans, user profile repository, user one, how are they related and everything. We can explicitly, we don't need to explicitly define them. Auto wiring takes care of it in Spring Boot. Now, this is a constructor-based dependency injection which is happening here. So this can be accomplished by the Spring container itself, the container which I have here. It can be taken care by that. It will invoke the constructor. It is invoking the constructor, my home controller class constructor. And with any number of inputs I can give as arguments, it will simply register the value. Okay. Now I'll proceed. Okay, continuing in the home controller class. See, now I have an application I have built which takes in a bunch of users, so which is actually hard coded here. I have two options here. Either I can deploy it on the cloud, which I'm going to do it eventually, or I can create a registration flow. I can take a form, I can input the data, use my database in memory or persistent database, and then I can proceed with my resume portal. Here, as you can see, for the project purpose, for this beginner purpose, I have hard coded the data here. I have set the username, the ID, the skills, the summary, the designation in this populate function. This populate function has a mapping of request mapping with a value, this API as start, and method as request method dot get. Okay. Now I'm also, this is a list which you can see. This user is a list. Let it go. Yeah, profiles is a list which is adding all the users which will be inputted here. Uh, Whatever registration comes, I'm inputting the users in this profiles list. Educations, the list of educations, for example, schooling, college, universities, he or she can enter it under the edu list. This is the list actually. I'm setting the ID, I'm setting the college just for showing purpose here. I'm doing it for my project purpose, I'm doing it. Now I'm checking if my user profile repository is not null. I will do a find all, and for each profiles, if a new entry comes, I will just add. This is actually a Java streams I have used here, pretty basic, and then I'm going to save my user, which has been created here using the user profile repository dot save. Okay, now as you have noticed here, I'm using this model interface here. Okay, now what is a model interface? I have placed this model interface in the controller part of my application. You can see that. So this is a context variable m which I am passing to my HTML file. So this basically is going to hold my data. Okay, what I mean by that is this m.add attribute, user one, you can see I have created user one in this application. So it will pass it in my HTML files, which I'm going to display here, which this function is returning. This function will be returning an HTML page. So I'm adding the attributes there, okay, so that I can deploy it in my view page. I can display them in my view page, okay. Now this is for start. Now I will restart the server. Okay, it is restarted. This is a hyperlink actually. So I'll open this. See, it has directly redirected me to the start page. Okay. Now you can see this. This is actually a pretty basic template. I'll show you what template I'm using this HTML page. It has Thymeleaf. I'm using Thymeleaf here. So why I have decided to choose Thymeleaf. So Thymeleaf is an open source Java library actually. It is an HTML or XML based template engine. My goal here is to provide a well-formed resume page so that I can create multiple templates. I can add the names. I can give my whatever details I want my resume to display, I can basic, in a pretty basic way, I can display them. So Thymeleaf actually supports variable expressions, as you can see here, and user1.email I have used here under curly braces. So this is Spring expression language actually, and it will execute the model attribute as I showed you. So my model had, where did it go? Sorry, home controller, yeah. I was passing this M here. I was adding this attribute here, add attribute user1 education edu table, and then simply it will return profile templates, whatever index, whatever HTML page I want to return. So here I've hard coded two. Now you can use multiple of them. The project has multiple options. So you can get the theme also. You can actually choose the theme from the user. Okay, you want which template you want, index one template or two template or three templates. So various I have given an option for that also as well. There's a hyperlink edit, and you can see my home controller with the first populate function has an API of start with method get, and then it is going to display all of them, whatever data I have placed here. Sorry, whatever data I have placed here, it's going to display all of them. For example, my first name, last name. This is the summary which I'm displaying here, and my education, my skills, my technical skills, experience, hobbies, references, everything very beautifully and very simple, in a very simple way. It's going to express, it's going to display all of them. Okay. Here you can see I have given th text, user one first name, last name, email, user one email here. Objective is my summary, college under education, skills, designation, and these eventually, when I'm going to continue with the project, I'm going to make add much more hyperlinks to it. I'm going to add many more data to it because I want it to be a full-fledged one-page resume. So this is my goal before I deploy it into the cloud. Okay, now I'll proceed with the second function here. Is it to? I'll actually show you edit. Yes. So under edit, I have two types of edit functions here, one with a get mapping edit and one with a post mapping edit. I have configured, as of now, I've configured the second template. When it is doing an edit, it is switching to the second template. You can see, oh, sorry, this is the second template currently I am in. So the profile that gets edited when somebody who is the logged in user as of now, when somebody tries to access the slash edit page, it's as basic as that. Okay, you can see here we have an edit hyperlink. When the user is trying to edit this, the logged in user is trying to edit this, he or she can edit his profile details. For example, his education history. He wants to add an education. He wants to add his designation. He has an updated designation or wants to add some summary or some reference link he wants to add. He can do via this edit option. Okay. Currently, the logged in user is me, that is Taniya Nandi here. So what I want to do in this profile edit is I want to create a form where the user can see all of their profile information. Okay, here all of this information which a user enters, I want to show that in a form format. So you can see this is my profile edit HTML page here. Okay, I'm creating the form. I'm creating a form action here. So under action, you can see there is hash because I don't want the default form of action to happen. This is going to be a timely form. So I have to add a timely action mapped here. This colon, th colon action, you can see at the rate edit. This is a timely mapping I'm doing. Okay, this is going to handle the post request. Now the th action at the rate edit expression directs the form to post. You can see method equals to post I'm giving this endpoint here. While with th object here and user one, this expression declares the model object. This is the model object which we are going to use for collection for the form data. Once we do a submit, we can use the form data in that format. Okay. Now, the basic idea here is when you click and edit, you need to call someone or some method of this controller class, which I have, to give us the updated values. Okay. So this function here, home controller, you can see once we do a get mapping of edit, it is going to return profile edit because we need the page, this HTML page we have created. I'm adding my attribute user1, which is all the details of the current user who is logged in, or the current user who is creating the resume. Now this post mapping edit, this function post edit has a model attribute you can see calling user profile. Okay. Now, for example, this user profile will have all the details of the updated data. Okay, I'll show you. Now I'm doing an edit here. Okay. Now I also have experience, 3+ years experience in Spring Boot. Okay. I've added this. I've changed my email address. I'm adding Tanya at the rate. Okay. Now, passionate, Spring Boot, and REST API developer. Added all of them, and then I'm going to do a submit here. See, this page redirected me to the view page. Okay, so this is the user profile display page actually. So I have a model object. To summarize here, I have a model object here, a model attribute and model M user profile. Okay, that this form is going to populate. When this form is going to populate, it is going to take the updated values and I'm going to post it here. Okay, translate into model object for my controller class actually. Text boxes you can see are already auto populated, which is the current value of the current profile here. Okay, I'm going to show you. See, all of them are auto populated here. Now, if I change, as I said, I'm going to add here Tanya. I'm doing a submit here. You can see I'm doing my I'm setting my user one dot set first name and I'm getting my user profile and whatever changes have been made, if or not the changes have been made, it's gonna update the value. For example, here I'm setting the email. I want the email what has been set via the user profile. So I'm gonna do a user profile dot get email. Okay. Now, please. Okay. Now I'll do an edit. I'm changing my email address to Tanya. We're doing a submit. See, the profile page, I have a tanya@she.com. You can email, this is actually an hyperlink. You can go and you can copy paste and mail it to me. That also I need to implement. Okay. For example, user profile, I can add your user profile dot get skills. This is actually hard code as of now. I'm still building my project. So yes, you can add them here. Now I'll directly shift to my data SQL application properties. Okay, what I'm doing here, I'm going to explain. Okay, so Spring Boot currently, which we are using on a daily basis, we use Spring Boot has two types of databases if you take a note of it. So one is persistent DB and one is in-memory DB. I am using an in-memory DB here, but post I shifted to the cloud, I'm going to use MySQL Server DB, which is a persistent DB. So persistent DB actually persists data in a physical memory. Okay, data will be available even if your DB server crashes or is bounced. For example, the persistent DBs are Oracle, MySQL, which is going to use Postgres, etc. Okay. Now, in-memory database. What is an in-memory database? You can see I'm using an in-memory database here. It will store your data in the system memory. That is one of the most widely used is H2DB. It is actually an embedded database. It is a client server application. It will store the data in memory and not persist it on your disk. Okay. Now I have configured the values here. This is Spring data source URL, the driver class name, and also the username. The password is password here. By default, MEM MEM here is the default name of the H2 database which I'm creating, and user profile, you can see, is the name of the schema here. The table which I'm creating now, it has the name MEM, and user profile is the schema. Okay. To summarize the project, what I have done, I want to summarize the project here. Okay. So this project has been built by me by taking help of a very, very popular YouTube channel called Java Brains. Thanks. This project here, the resume portal project, will help you create your own profile, view them, edit them, select your own templates, update your profile, add your summary details and everything. With the help of just basic technologies which I've used, the basic and the primary one is Spring Boot and Java, which I am very fond of. Thymeleaf I'm using to give us good display good views, view pages. JPI I'm using and H2 in-memory database, as you can see, before shifting it to cloud, before publishing it in the cloud. So, thank you.